Welcome back to the Buds in the Box podcast. My name's Eric Fogarty, and I'm joined with my two co-hosts, Jude and Felly. What's up, boys?
What's up?
And today we have a special guest, Dustin Smith. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, our pleasure. So if you guys don't know, Dustin Smith is the emergency backup goalie for the Nashville Predators. Did I get that right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. Well, I have a lot of questions about that, but I think the first one everyone wants to know is how did you get into that position?
Well, it kind of started during the lockout, 2012. I ended up backing my way into practicing with them for that entire 3 months and kind of established a relationship with the team back then. So, I kind of ended up helping out with practices here and there leading up until they added the emergency goalie rule. I want to say it was like 2015 or something like that. I don't remember when they actually had it, but when they instated the rule, they gave me a call and asked me if I wanted to be their guy.
Oh, that's pretty cool. How did you end up practicing with the Nashville Predators?
So there's a guy here named Tim McAllister, and he kind of runs little training sessions with small groups of pro guys over the summer, kind of leading up to training camp, and I would always go and help him out. And that summer during the lockout, teams weren't allowed to practice with, the team or do training in team facilities. So Timmy actually ended up taking on the entire team plus like a handful of other guys who just so happened to be in town or guys that lived here. So, I just kind of hit him up and was like, hey man, like I'm available in the mornings if you got anything going on. And he's like, yeah, just a heads up, Pekka and Mason might be here. So just so you know, and yeah, like, just kind of backed my way into the whole situation.
Did you ever get to meet Pekka Rinne?
Yeah, dude, honestly, like walking into that room that first day, I didn't realize it was a whole team. Like I thought it was going to be a small group. Maybe Pex and Mason were going to be on the other side. But, I walk in and it's packed. Like I have nowhere to sit. And Mike Fisher, actually, I was like, hey, man, like it's packed in here, huh? And he's like, yeah, just cheek up somewhere. So I was just going to like sit like next to him. But Pex and Mason both were like, hey, buddy, like, come sit over here, like, with the goalies. Like, come sit over here. And I was like, holy shit, man. Like, Pekka and Mason both are like, hey, come over here, hang out with us. And yeah, super nice. They both, oh, hey, I'm Pekka. Hey, I'm Chris. I was like, yeah, I'm Dustin. What's up? But yeah, that definitely kind of, like, was a huge pivot for me in kind of my whole hockey life, to be honest. But, yeah, dude, huge moment. It's so awesome.
Okay. I have a lot of questions like about just like how it works, because we were having a discussion before this on like how the emergency backup goalie like works. So do you go to every single home game?
Yeah. So here in Nashville, I notice every city kind of does it differently. Some cities have just one guy. Other cities I've heard have like something like 7 guys. But here we have 4 guys total listed. Usually the goalie coach will hit me up every month and say, hey, what's your schedule like? And, I'll tell him like, oh, I can't make this one Saturday game, or I can't make that one game. And then he usually says like, okay, you have all the games except for, this game or that other game. So yeah, I end up going to basically all the games and just kind of sit in the stands. They give me 2 tickets to every game. And I park downstairs with all the players right next to all their G-Wagons and, all their super nice cars. I pull up my Hyundai Sonata and, walk in and say hi to everybody.
That sounds like a really good deal.
Yeah.
And they go to every game and sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's worth it just for the tickets, man. Like just to be able to go to all the games and everything too.
Yeah. Is it a box or seats?
So some teams I've heard they sit in the press boxes, but I get seats. Like they're pretty nice seats, down in the corner, pretty low, and I sit in attack twice. So it makes for a good time going to all the games.
Have you ever had like a close situation where you thought like you might be going in or?
Yeah. So I got the call to go downstairs. It was a game against the Boston Bruins. It was first period and Tuukka Rask took a puck to the throat. Roman Josi was coming down the middle, took a shot, hit him right in the throat. And he gets pulled out. And this is when the rule was still pretty new. So, like, I was officially listed, but we didn't have any kind of, like, anything in place. I just so happened to be there. Like, leading up to that, I was I was asking Pekka for tickets, and he was just kind of hooking them up. And you know, I was kind of messaging the president of hockey operations for the Preds, and I was like, hey, you know, I'm here if you need me, like joking around. And he was joking back, like, oh yeah, that'd be funny, wouldn't it? And sure enough, during intermission, he calls me and he's like, hey, we need you to come downstairs. You need to get dressed right now. Like everything we were just joking about, it's going down. And you know, so walk over there, go downstairs with them, and it's kind of a mad scramble. And you know, I end up putting on Tuukka Rask gear and just kind of sitting there hanging out in the locker room the rest of the game. But I think McIntyre was the goalie, the backup goalie at the time. But, you know, he ended up being a stud. He finished out the game. I think Preds ended up winning. But, yeah, that's the closest call I've ever had.
So being on were you – go ahead.
Go for it.
One at a time.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, was it nerve-wracking, like when you're sitting in there, like if you have to go out onto the ice? Were you excited?
Yeah, man. At first, you know, like before I even put anything on, you know, I was walking through and I said hi to Tuukka. I was like, hey, like, how you doing?
Yeah.
And, you know, I asked him first, I was like, do you mind if I put your stuff on? I just want to assume, like, you know, they said put his stuff on. I was like, it's his stuff. I want to ask him. So he was like, yeah, you know, go for it, you know, whatever. And yeah, super nervous putting everything on. And, you know, I didn't have my gear with me at the time because, like I said, the rule was pretty new. So, you know, trainers were giving me some of Pekka's old skates. I was putting on Tuukka's gear. And then, you know, once the dust kind of settled from all that, you know, I was kind of able to sit down and start watching the game. And, you know, it's like every shot on net the Preds had, or every time, you know, players got close to McIntyre, I think that's who was playing. I don't even remember. But, you know, I got really nervous. I'm like, man, all it takes is one bump. And, like, I'm in there. Like, this is real now. But, you know, as the game kind of progressed, you know, I kind of got a little more comfortable, and the idea of playing became, like, super exciting. I was almost like, dude, put me in there. Like, let's go. Like,
Yeah.
But, yeah, you know, the opportunity never came, which, you know, you never want to see anybody get hurt, but, you know, it would be really sweet to play a game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what's the deal with what's coming up? They're probably not doing emergency goalies with this new format, are they?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything official, but I've actually talked to some other emergency goalies, and they haven't heard anything official either. But, you know, we've kind of talked and speculated that they would probably bring in Black Aces, you know, some guy from the AHL, just to kind of come in and at least get some reps in or something. You know, I mean, this is a whole new format. This is a whole new situation for the league in general. So no one really knows what to expect. But as far as, like, the emergency guys go, like, I can't imagine they're going to fly us out to, you know, Vegas or wherever they're going to hold everything and pay for us to hang out. Although I'm here for it. Like, if I get that phone call, I'm gone in heartbeat.
Jude, did you have any goalie questions?
So being on the topic of, like, you practically, I don't know how you want to word it, but you could say you're in the NHL. So that being, what are the endorsements like? So, like, I see that custom CCM setup behind you. That's pretty gross. So how does that work?
I love this set. So honestly, like it's tough to say that I'm, like, in the NHL. Like, I'm absolutely not in the NHL. I didn't, you know, I didn't, you know, crawl my way up through the ranks or anything like that. I didn't put in the extra hard work that all these guys did. But, you know, going out to practices and stuff like that, I definitely have, like, kind of some perks, I guess. I mean, I've been given some gear. Like, my pads here, like, I ended up having to get those on my own just because, you know, I probably could have talked my way into, like, some hand-me-down gear from Pex or UC, but I was like, man, like, I hit the customizer and I was like, I got to get these. Like, I have to make it happen. But, you know, I'll get, like, you know, some sticks here and there. You know, Pekka's really good about giving me sticks. You know, every time I see him, he's like, well, do you want any sticks? And I'm like, I mean, I have some, but, like, I won't say no. And you know, he usually hooks me up with, like, a couple, like, you know, sticks here and there. But, you know, talking to the equipment managers, I've kind of gotten to know them over the years too. So, you know, little stuff here and there that I might need throughout the year, they're pretty good about, you know, hooking something up, whether it's, you know, a used chest protector or some pants or, you know, whatever I need. I usually can kind of weasel my way into it, but, you know, they can be kind of stingy with gear sometimes too.
Pekka sounds like a really good guy.
Yeah.
Pekka's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
he's one of the nicest guys I've ever met.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So on that same topic where you're talking about like you've been talking to all these players, have you like, aside from obviously Pekka and maybe Fisher, have you like developed any like good friendships or relationships with any of these pro players?
Yeah, so like even before the lockout, skating with Timmy, I've gotten to know some older Preds guys like JP Dumont. He still lives here in Nashville, and I've gotten to know him really well over the years. Became pretty good friends with him. Guys like Marty Erat. Actually, I just skated with Erat not too long ago. He's in town with his son, and he came out and skated with us a couple times. So I've gotten to know a lot of those guys really well during the lockout. Like, I was pretty cool with a lot of those guys because they would invite me out. Like, I'd go downtown with them every once in a while, and I was still skating with them just about every day for those 3 months. So I got to know guys pretty well, but after the lockout, I wasn't so close with them that I maintained a good relationship with them. So like those relationships kind of dwindled over the years. But guys that I see regularly at practices that I go to, like Ryan Ellis, we still chirp back and forth every time we see each other. We have a good time. Watson, him and I talk all the time too. So even Forsberg, I've gotten to know Forsberg a little bit over the last couple of years too. So not super close with any of these guys, but yeah, awesome dudes just to be around. So nice too.
So how many practices do you go to? Like a week or a month?
So it kind of depends. Like this most recent season, I didn't get called in that much, but last year I got called in quite a bit. Like I would get a call just to come in and do like a power play practice, and it'd be like 5-on-0 for like 15 minutes. Goalie coach is like, yeah, we just didn't want Pex or UC running this drill, but we definitely wanted a goalie, so we called you in. So last year I got a lot of those calls. I might have gone in, I don't know, it's not even that much, maybe like 3 or 4 times a month. This most recent year I might have gotten called like 3 or 4 times total. So it just kind of depends throughout the year and what's going on. But really, I get a lot of my reps in leading up to training camp. And even, this year I helped out a lot with training camp because they had an odd number of goalies. So, they would have the rookies on one side, the vets on the other. And, I would jump on with one of the groups. So, that's kind of where I get a lot of my time in.
Cool.
Well, going back to like the relationships and the players and then the experiences and stuff, have you had like a crazy experience with any player on a different team other than the Nashville Predators?
Not really. I mean, there was one summer, Pex invited me downtown, and he's like, yeah, we're meeting up with Antti Niemi. And I was like, Niemi? Like, I forget where, I think he was in San Jose, but he's like, yeah, the rest of his team went to Vegas. Niemi wanted to go to Nashville. He didn't want to go to Vegas. So, I ended up hanging out with Niemi like the rest of that night. I've ran into, I actually went out with a buddy of mine. We ran into the Jets guys. They were all out at this one bar. And, I ended up meeting Connor Hellebuck just very briefly, said, hey, what's up? I'm the emergency guy. And he's like, oh yeah, it's really nice. Like, but not really any crazy stories with guys on other teams.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that Tuukka story experience is pretty crazy too. So
yeah. Cool.
And also as a fan, how do you like, since you're at all the games, do you just remember one memory that sticks out with like the Nashville Predators?
Honestly, the cup run is kind of a tough one to top. So come playoff time, we call up our Black Aces, and I end up getting the boot because they have an AHL stud who's there just in case emergency. But they still hook up tickets for me about as long as they can, and just that entire playoff run was just like this huge, magical, like crazy thing. It was like, one series after another, and everything built and grew, and the entire city really just like erupted. Like, it was insane. Like, but the biggest moment for me going to games, I forget what team they were playing, but it was like, I think second overtime or something like that. And like the game was just going on forever. And like the tension was just so high. But I think Mike Fisher ended up scoring the game winner, and like that place absolutely erupted, man. Like it was so crazy. Like that was definitely the craziest like fan moment that I've had.
Yeah.
Did you get to go to all those games, all the playoff games?
Not all of them. So that playoff cup run, I think I went to the first 2 series, and after that they're like we can't give you tickets anymore.
Yeah.
Like we just don't have that hookup right now.
So you're like a full like Nashville fan, like that's your team?
So originally growing up, my dad and his side of the family are all from New England. So I grew up a Bruins fan. So I mean, like getting to like serve as Bruins backup goalie was like huge. Like that was so big for me. Like that was so exciting, and shaking Chara's hand and like seeing all these guys, and that was huge. But over the years, I moved here. I think I was about 10, 11 years old when I moved here from San Diego, and the team was still pretty new. I was still a big Bruins fan, and the more I kind of was exposed to the Preds culture and going to games, but then especially when I started kind of doing stuff with Timmy over the summers and like working with some of the Preds guys, that's really when like my fandom for the Preds kind of started to grow.
Yeah. Did they make you a jersey when you were gonna go in for the Bruins, or like when you're sitting in the room?
Yeah, so they had told me they didn't have a jersey for me on the spot, but if anything happened, they were gonna like throw something together and stitch a nameplate on there and everything. But afterwards, they got all my information, and not even a week later, I got a box in the mail from like the Boston Bruins, and it was a jersey. They sent me the jersey, and it just had like a little thank you card. Thanks for helping us out. I was like, wow, like that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Wow. So let's say, this is kind of hard to answer, but if Nashville was in like a game where it's like they're gonna make the playoffs, if it was like a David Ayres situation, like those 2 points were gonna like put them into the playoffs, would you like let one in, like if you were for the other team? Or
no way. I am standing on my head. I'm making every save I can, because honestly, like I don't know, I guess my mentality is like if your season is on the line like that, if you can't score on an emergency guy like that, like man, you got some problems. Like right. Like if a guy like me can step out of the seats and throw some random gear on and like stand on his head and like completely change the game, like
yeah.
I don't think I could take the blame for that.
And you'd get like publicity and stuff. Like you'd be on like TSN Sports Center or whatever.
Oh.
Sure. That'd be crazy.
I mean, that would be a heartbreaker. Like, I mean, I'm sure afterwards I'd catch a lot of crap for it, but no way, man. Like, I mean, I'm a competitive person too. So, especially after practicing with us so long and, chirping these guys around, last thing I want to do is give anything easy.
Yeah.
But I mean, back to that TSM point, like, the whole David Ayres thing, like that blew up like crazy. And it's really cool to see him get the exposure that he got. So,
yeah, for sure.
If I'm going to get that kind of exposure, I want it to be because I beat the team that that I'm here for.
Yeah. I don't think the Leafs were like mad at David Ayres for standing on his head that game. Like it's just he did what he could.
Yeah, no, that was definitely one of those kind of historic moments in NHL history. Like that's such a crazy situation.
Sure. Yeah, and same with that other guy, the Chicago guy, right?
Yeah, Scott Foster.
Chicago? Yeah,
he was really the first guy. He kind of like pioneered the goalie situation, the emergency goalie situation, making it a reality. Like it's a real situation.
Didn't he do? He did like really well, didn't he? Like,
he got a shutout.
Yeah,
he got a shutout.
On for
he shut the Jets
minutes.
down. Line had a clear shot, and he shut him down.
It's crazy. I think we have like less than a minute, Eric. It says.
Yeah.
But we can just call it back.
Yeah. If you click the link again, like it's gonna close automatically. Just click the link again, and then it will come back.
Okay.
Because
so you
it only gives us like it'll end on it. I think it'll end on its own in like 10 seconds, but because we only have like a 40-minute timer for some reason.
Yeah, I've had a few other people say that too.
Yeah, so we'll just like wrap it up real quick, and then once it finishes.
What do you mean?
What?
Like once this closes, we'll get back on and then
Yeah.